It was highly influenced by India, it has one of the only flags featuring a building, and one of its rivers sometimes flows in reverse. These are just 3 of the facts that you're going to learn about Cambodia. The country we're focusing on today is Cambodia, a country often overshadowed by its neighbors Thailand and Vietnam. But as the successor of the Great Khmer Empire, it's no less important than them. Cambodia is a Southeast Asian country located on the Indochina Peninsula along with a few other countries. It borders Vietnam to the east and south, Laos to the northeast, and Thailand to the north and west. It's also bordered by the Gulf of Thailand to the west. It has a land area of approximately 181,000 square kilometers, which makes it slightly smaller than Syria and slightly bigger than Uruguay. Cambodia has a population of nearly 17 million people. Over 95% of the population is of ethnic Khmer origin and speaks the Khmer language, the official language of the nation. The other 5% is mainly made up of Chinese, Vietnamese, and Cham people. Since the country was once a French protectorate, some older Cambodians still speak French because it was the official language of Indochina. And until the 1990s, French was widely studied as a second language. Nowadays, though, English is more widely learned instead. The main religion by far is Theravada Buddhism, which 97% of the population adheres to. It has been the state religion since the 14th century, but prior to that, Cambodia was more predominantly Hindu. Cambodia, along with most of mainland Southeast Asia, was historically part of the Indosphere, an area deeply influenced by Indian culture and religion, going back to the 3rd century BCE. Indian traders brought Hinduism and Buddhism to the area, which greatly influenced the ruling classes. The kingdom of Funan in present-day Cambodia was an Indianized state which promoted Hinduism, and which used Sanskrit as the language of the court. It was followed by the Indianized Chenla Empire, then the powerful Khmer Empire, or Angkorian Empire, which ruled from the 9th to the 15th centuries and at its peak controlled most of mainland Southeast Asia. But then it declined, while Siam, in present-day Thailand, and Vietnam grew in power, and it eventually came under their partial control. This motivated the Khmer king to sign an agreement with the French in 1863, making Cambodia a protectorate of France, in order to avoid being annexed by Siam and Vietnam. This lasted until 1953, when Cambodia became independent. In the 1960s, the Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, began a communist insurgency, which led to a vicious and brutal civil war. The Khmer Rouge was in control of the whole country by 1975, and they took the country straight to hell. Millions of people, up to a third of the population, were massacred, often for little to no reason at all. This nightmare lasted until 1979, when the Khmer Rouge lost power, but lingering civil war continued until there was a peace agreement in 1993. A horrible lingering result of the wars is that Cambodia is one of the most landmined countries in the world, with an estimated 4 to 6 million mines still in place. Tourists have little to worry about, but every year dozens of Cambodians are injured or killed by landmines, many of them children. Cambodia's topography typically consists of low, flat plains, such as in the central lowlands, where you can find huge fields of tall grass and cultivated crops, especially rice paddies. 90% of the cultivated land is used to grow rice. And it seems like that's paying off because Cambodia has won the world's Best Rice Award 4 times in the past 10 years. Although most of the country's elevation is less than 100 meters above sea level, there are mountainous areas in the southwest and in the north along the border with Thailand and Cambodia. These mountains are covered in tropical rainforest, where most of the country's trees are located. One of Cambodia's most important features is the Mekong River, which flows over 480 kilometers through Cambodia. Not only the Mekong River itself, but also its basin is of tremendous importance. One river that flows into the Mekong is Tonle Sap River, or the Great River, which connects the Mekong to the Tonle Sap Lake. Tonle Sap River is known to be the only river in the world that flows in different directions depending on the season. How does that happen? In the rainy season, the extra volume in the Mekong River pushes the Tonle Sap River back and forces its flow to reverse, which also raises the water level of the lake, quadrupling its size. During such times, it becomes the largest freshwater lake in all of Southeast Asia. The Tonle Sap River and lake are a crucial part of Cambodia's fishing industry, since they provide 75% of Cambodia's annual fish catch and 60% of the country's protein intake. The Mekong River Basin is sometimes referred to as the fish basket of Asia, as well as the rice bowl of Asia, since its waters are essential for rice cultivation. Like most of Southeast Asia, Cambodia is affected by monsoons and has two distinct seasons, the dry season, which lasts from November to May, and the rainy season, which lasts from June to October. But the weather is usually hot and humid year-round. The temperature in the hottest month of April regularly rises above 40 degrees Celsius, and in the coolest months, from December to February, it normally reaches between 25 degrees and 27 degrees Celsius. Every year there's some flooding during the rainy season, with disastrous floods striking in certain years. Cambodia is very biodiverse, with hundreds of unique animal species and thousands of plant species. A few of the animals found in Cambodia are the Irrawaddy dolphin, the 3-meter-long giant barbfish, the banteng, the pygmy slow loris, and the world's smallest bear, the sun bear, which is only 70 meters tall at the shoulder, when standing up, that is. There are also multiple endangered species, including the national animal, the Khmer, also known as the forest ox. It's thought to be extinct everywhere except possibly Cambodia, though it's unknown whether any still remain. Geographically, Cambodia can be divided into 4 regions, which are further divided into 25 provinces. The Mekong lowlands. This region consists of the low plains making up most of the country's central area. The capital of Phnom Penh is located in this region, on the banks of the Mekong River. It's the most populous city in Cambodia, with around 2,140,000 people. It was once referred to as the Pearl of Asia, back when Cambodia was a French protectorate. Examples of the striking French colonial architecture in the capital include the iconic Hôtel Le Royal, the neoclassical Central Post Office, and the Central Market. And though they're often overshadowed by those of Angkor Wat, there are also impressive temples in the city, such as the Silver Pagoda and Wat Una Lom, as well as monuments like the Independence Monument. Another focal point for visitors to the city is the Royal Palace, the residence of the royal family, which is partly open to tourists. You can't just walk in and hang out with the king, but the throne hall and a few other buildings around it are open to the public. The northwestern region. The northwestern region is the one with the least rainfall, and it's also the poorest region. It's the most visited region of the country because it's home to the magnificent Angkor Wat Archaeological Park. Angkor Wat is so important to Cambodia that it appears on the nation's flag. It's the biggest religious monument in the world, covering 162 hectares and built entirely from sandstone. The name itself means Temple City, and it was the political center of the Khmer Empire. Even though Angkor Wat was originally built as a Hindu temple, it was later converted into a Buddhist temple. It's no longer active as a temple, and just serves as a monument to Cambodia's past, and also a tourist site that attracts visitors from all over the world. The Eastern region. The Eastern region is separated from the rest of Cambodia by the Mekong River, and is a remote and sparsely populated region. But despite its sparse population, it has a relatively diverse population, with a number of ethnic minority groups living there. The forested eastern highlands of this region have unfortunately fallen victim to uncontrolled logging in the area, destroying much of its previously untouched beauty. Cardamom and Elephant Mountains. This region includes the mountain ranges Cardamom to the southwest and Dumbe, which means elephant, to the south. The mountainous areas are mainly remote jungle where few people venture. Foreign visitors come mainly to the coastal areas on the Gulf of Thailand, to beach areas like Sihanoukville. Cambodia's second largest island, Kah Rong, lies off the coast of Sihanoukville. The largest island is Kah Kong, which is found in Kah Kong province, further north in the same region. The country's second largest city, Battambang, is also located in this region. It's becoming increasingly popular with tourists as a base to visit nearby ruins and temples, as well as the infamous bamboo train, a makeshift wooden train that began to be used after the national railway was abandoned under the Khmer Rouge. Since the end of the Civil War in the 1990s, tourism has grown to become Cambodia's second largest industry. The largest is the garment industry, an industry that was mostly non-existent before the 1990s, and was created by foreign investment after economic reforms turned Cambodia's economy from a planned economy into a market economy. Before that, in the 1980s, Cambodia's economy was mainly subsistence agriculture, and the Khmer Rouge had done its best to wipe out all private enterprise, or any semblance of a functioning economy at all. They've left an unfortunate stain on the history of this otherwise amazing country, but let's focus on the positive. Cambodia is a source of endless fascination, both historically and culturally, as well as geographically. Its legacy as part of the Indosphere, and the monuments that resulted from it, attracts a constant stream of visitors to Cambodia. It's certainly a place intriguing enough to visit. or at least to learn more about. Now, over to you. What's something new that you learned about Cambodia from this video? And if you happen to be from Cambodia, what's something about your country that you're most proud of? Leave your answers in the comments down below. Do you want to see videos on the GeoFocus channel before anyone else? Become a member of this channel and you'll see videos 1 week early and completely ad-free without any ads or promos. Click the join button next to the subscribe button for more information. And to everyone, thank you for watching and have a nice day.